Blake T. Wilde here, and welcome to Cover to Cover Comics, where I take a deep dive, really analyze comic books more so than I typically do on my normal video series called What Is. Over on those videos, I just kind of recap comics. I do what I call a read view, where I read through the books while also providing my commentary, my review, my thoughts, little interjections here and there, while also doing cool voiceovers, music, sound effects, stuff like that. Essentially, I'm making a motion comic for free. But here, on Cover to Cover Comics, I am taking books that I think are just interesting, that I love, that I really enjoy, and just want to share with the world and talk about and discuss. And I am showing them off to you, and that is the basic premise. Because I am obsessed with comic books. If you can't tell by this big bookshelf filled to the brim with single issues from independent publishers, Marvel, DC, and then this bookshelf right here, which is filled to the brim as well with trade paperbacks, omnibuses, books, all the sorts. You should see my side of my bed. I have stacks of comics that I am still yet to read. My wife hates it, but I just want to share my love of comics with the world, with the viewers, and just try to get you excited and to look at comics in a different way, in a more thoughtful way, in a way that isn't just reading and looking at the pictures, but to really, you know, analyze the books and really see what goes into making this beautiful medium. And I know what you're thinking, but Blake, you're not a comic creator who's had over 20 years of experience in the industry, and you're right, I'm not. Yet, wink, but I am a comic creator, and I've made my own series called the Custodians, Agents of Cross and Destructo Boy. Each issue of the Custodians, Agents of Cross is over 60 pages of pure comics, written, illustrated, colored, lettered, designed. Everything you see in these books was created entirely by myself. And this asks the all-important question, what if the only heroes that can save the world are an intelligent baboon, a girl who controls fire, the world's smartest man with the power of elasticity only in his right arm, and a four-armed werewolf? And this just follows their exploits. Like I said, it is a love letter to the 60s, Silver Age, and to all of comics in general, as you'll see as the series progresses to its 6th and final issue. This entire first issue, however, is posted in its entirety on my Patreon, patreon.com/Smokey's videos, where you can read the entire thing for only $2. But that's not all, because I also have my sci-fi, zany, just crazy fun series, fun for the whole family, all-age comic, Destructo Boy. Destructo Boy follows this little robot guy right here as he lives on a giant space station in the far-flung future, and he battles crime, giant robots, giant monsters, and evil conquerors from space such as Grimlax the Astro Knight. Each of these issues just introduces as much zany sci-fi craziness as I could fit into these books. They're being serialized on my Patreon as I speak as well, and you can pick up all 5 issues on my Etsy shop, blaketwild.etsy.com. Each purchase comes with a free head sketch of any character of your choosing. So let's get right into things with Erik Larsen's Doom Patrol. Meaning that he did the art. This is Paul Kupperberg's era. This is the 2nd series of Doom Patrol. And this is merely 5 issues before Grant Morrison will take over the series. So this is what they were dealing with. I say that like it's a bad thing. It's not. I really enjoy this issue. This is her after she just battled this extra-dimensional entity called Pythia, who is a member of the Lords of Chaos. I wasn't familiar with who this is when I first read this issue, and I'm still not familiar with who it is after I've read the issue. It's in Pythia, the monster thing, is introduced in this Doom Patrol series, but I still have not read all of the issues. This is the only one I've read. So, it's, you know, fantastic artwork by Erik Larsen. I adore Erik Larsen. He is a huge inspiration just on myself for creating comics as a whole. Just the fact that he is my favorite of the Image comic creators because he's the guy who actually stuck around. He's the guy who just wants to make comics and enjoys creating stories in the medium. I'm still picking up Savage Dragon issues that come out currently. I just got into the whole series. You can check that out over on my podcast, The Comic Shtick, which is a weekly release on my channel. I am reading for the very first time Savage Dragon. I bought all 11 archive volumes, and I am almost done with the first one. And I adore Erik Larsen's art. I loved it on Spider-Man. I really love all of his Savage Dragon work that I've seen. I've started reading the new release of Savage Dragon since they moved to San Francisco is where I decided to pick it up. And I think he's a fantastic creator. I think he's a fantastic artist. And this is just really neat to see some, earlier work of his. But something that, it's very stylized, which I love how he does her hair, by the way. It looks really nice. Power Girl, great character. I like the costume. I've always been a fan of Power Girl. Not for the obvious reasons, but that definitely helped. I just think she's cool. Power Girl is Supergirl, but cool. Because, she's the same from an alternate universe sometimes. And she's like, she's Supergirl, but with life experience. And she knows what she's doing. And I just think she's neat. But anyway, she's hanging out with the Doom Patrol currently for some reason. And these are the members of the Doom Patrol. Don't remember any of their names. That's Celsius. That's Joshua something. Robot Man. Negative Woman. Can't remember her name. Can't remember his name. Rhea? Is that Rhea, I think? But, they're sort of helping her out after she got fucked up fighting this evil Chaos God. Really, this part of the story isn't too important. I'm just going to look at the art for now. Because there's a lot of words, and honestly, it doesn't really matter that much. Just, as you can see right away, far more unique panel layouts from Larsen than anything you'd be seeing pretty much on most comics at this time, or even comics now don't have unique panel layouts like this. Just so much he has to do, and it just works so perfectly. There is it's just a weird tangent right here. It looks odd because there's no breaking point. Like, I understand that this is like from a side view looking at her, but it just looks like she has a fucked up face. Really neat way to signify that this is a flashback. You curve the panels, which is something I really dug, which happened in Squadron Supreme, another series that I'm covering on both What Is and Cover to Cover Comics. And just the coloring. Who's the colorist again? Michelle Wolfman. I'm not familiar with her. John Workman on lettering. That's, fantastic. But Michelle Wolfman, I'm not too familiar with myself. But we just see, that's an amazing face on Larsen's part. Because that is a tough sort of angle to get to look right without looking like she just has a fucked up head. But that looks really fantastic. That's like a pop art poster for domestic violence or something. And another thing I really want to point out here with the color is because of the way that the colors were kind of separated and cut out, it wasn't an exact science. It was just people trying to get as much done. I love the fact that, he draws all this intricate hair like he'll do with Mary Jane Watson in his upcoming Spider-Man series. But the colorist is just like, oh, fuck, let's just fucking make it a big outline for it. Who cares if it goes over her face? You see that here on Power Girl as well on a couple panels. Like this one strand of hair, it's just a really thick line, or a really thick color block out there through the middle. And now we get to some crazy shit. So here's where it gets just unique and interesting. A strange... Paul Kupperberg's Doom Patrol, again, I'm not too familiar with it, but it just seems like it very much seems like it's a kind of more sci-fi prototype to Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol, because there's the painting that ate Paris where the Doom Patrol ends up in like a big farm field, and in this one they get teleported to a big farm field. Seemingly at random, their whole kitchen ends up there, and this is Pythia. It's a Jack Kirby monster on LSD, just insane to look at. It's partially on fire. There's mouths everywhere. I love Power Girl's reaction, which she goes, "My God, it's Pythia, I think." And Joshua says, "I don't think heaven has anything to do with this." And something I didn't realize until I was just rereading this before recording is that, oh, who is this? Who lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere, has pigtails, and is associated with the Doom Patrol? It's Dorothy! Dorothy Spinner. I did not realize that this issue is the first appearance of Dorothy Spinner. Maybe if I got it autographed by Erik Larsen and then slammed in a CGC box, I could pay for my kids' college tuition. But this, they materialize at her family's farm. You might be familiar with Dorothy from the Doom Patrol show. Excellent show. Check it out. I highly recommend it. But it's just a neat little fight between, you know, the Doom Patrol and this giant monster. Great action from Larsen. Robot Man, I like his version of Robot Man. It's very well done. I like the almost Kirby dots in his mouth. Leaps in for an attack. Immediately is just bounced right back. Great body language as he just tumbles into the dirt. How humiliating. And here is where it gets crazy. So now you gotta flip the book like this. Because that was a big thing for the Image guys, is that a lot of them, they would always do pages where you gotta flip the book and read it like you're looking at a porno. So they have been consumed by Pythia and are now in this other dimension full of similarly giant maws, razor-sharp teeth going down and down like worms. I can't think of the worm that I'm... like a leech. That's what I was trying to say. And there's also just these flying Nordic demons just everywhere that inhabit this alternate reality, which we will learn is Pythia itself. Like the thing that we saw fighting them in the farm field in reality is like an avatar for it, and in this dimension it is literally the reality. It's that dimension is Pythia itself. It's mind-boggling. Continues for most of the book. It's a good way to really signify the fact that, you know, they're not in the right world anymore by making you turn the page like this and seeing them from an all-new perspective. Funnily enough, the coloring mistake right here, which they didn't color her legs to be skin tone, is this the first time we've seen Power Girl with that costume that she will have in the 2000s, where it's, you know, the full body suit? But, you know, we get some neat little action. I like this little back and forth where Power Girl's like, "Oh shit, I forgot you guys can't fly." Rhea says, "Hey, I can fly." And Power Girl quickly goes, "Yeah, but I fly faster." And also, should make note that Dorothy is also here. They didn't realize that she got sucked into this alternate Kirby Crackle reality as well. And she's like, "Oh my god, they're gonna leave me behind." She starts calling for help, and they get distracted and start to go. Power Girl goes to try and help her as the others fight. And then this is a funny little unintentional bit right here where, you know, they're fighting these horrible demon things. I don't even know what they are. What is their society like? What is their culture like that leads them to be dressed like this in this living organism of a reality? They're fighting and then you know, Power Girl gets attacked and she can't reach Dorothy, and then they go, "Oh my god, look! By all that's holy, Mama. And then, because there's this advertisement right here, it makes it seem like they're reacting to the fact that Marv Wolfman and George Perez are reunited on the new Titans. And then it just gets fucking insane, my dudes, because, oh my god, it's Joshua gets chomped by this giant mouth, and I should note, look at how bloody this is. He gets split in half. You see his guts and organs flying through. There's blood everywhere. Rhea loses her mind because Joshua's dead, and she flies through into the beast's giant leech's mouth to try and explode it, but she just pops out the other side and is like, oh my god, it did nothing, and whatever's covering me is burning my body. And look at this! She fucking wells up just horribly as she's calling for help and explodes into fire. Robot Man gets his fucking brain crushed. Negative Woman just gets speared through the chest. She's bleeding out. I don't know. This guy falls to his death onto a spike. It just explodes in gore. This is a Comics Code Comics Code Authority approved book. Which is even funnier, because in a couple issues when Grant Morrison takes over, they're not going to bother submitting it to the Comics Code Authority. But Dorothy is just sitting there having just this little monkey-looking girl is forced to watch as all these heroes get murdered. And Power Girl and Celsius are the only ones left as Pythia is taunting them. And this is when they realize that Pythia is the dimension that they're in. And then it gets crazy, because they start meditating, and Power Girl says, remember, seek your center and hold on to it. Don't let your senses distract you. Nothing is as it seems. We can dictate our own reality. That is pretty much Grant Morrison before Grant Morrison takes over this book. I love it. I love this issue. It's just, this is a great issue because, like I said, I haven't read anything before or after this from Kupperberg's Doom Patrol. But he tells such an invigorating story, such a story that just really grips into you, that it doesn't matter. It's great. And then Dorothy, like, she's like, oh my god, I gotta do something. They're dying. And then Dorothy loses it, and she starts just chucking these random floating rocks everywhere, which seem to hurt Pythia for some reason. And then Pythia reconfigures itself, and, like, you know, it all absorbs just this reality into, you know, this figure. And suddenly, hey, everybody's back. And, you know, Power Girl's there, and she wakes everybody up, and then they all start just chucking rocks at this giant monster. And that's how they beat it. Just throwing rocks at this giant extra-dimensional monster and essentially bullying it, which is kind of what they do in the new It Chapter 2 movie. But they wind up back on the farm, and they tell Dorothy that she has earned her place as an honorary member of the Doom Patrol, and that, you know, they're her friend now for all that she did, saving her, being so brave, and just this sweet little scene of Dorothy, who's been just an outcast from society, and she wells up and cries, this young little girl who has no one really in her life that cares too much about her, no friends or anything. And then Power Girl offers to, you know, well, Cliff, Robot Man, sort of offers her to, makes the offer for her to fly them back in their kitchen. And that is the end. It's just full of, this letter page is just full of people shitting on Erik Larsen's art, how he's not a good fit for Doom Patrol, how there's one person who's like, oh boy, I sure hope Erik Larsen's on Doom Patrol for a long time. Ooh, boy. I bet he was disappointed. But yeah, that is how this one ends. And it's funny because, you know, we get that horrible, just grotesque scene of the Doom Patrol being just murdered violently. But in a couple of issues, Grant Morrison's going to take over. And Paul Kupperberg, being an absolute gentleman, just handing over the keys, worked with Grant Morrison to get rid of any characters that Morrison didn't want to use. So, a couple of them do die. They die here. And another thing I should point out is that when they come back to reality, seemingly they don't remember dying, because Dorothy's like the only one that remembers because she didn't die, I guess. But I guess when it was rewritten and Pythia just revitalized them, they didn't realize that they were killed. But Dorothy just witnessed all these people die, and then they come back and they were like, oh no, we were just knocked on our butts. If it wasn't for you, we definitely would have died, though. So seemingly they don't remember being horribly murdered. Which is probably for the best, but most of them are going to be horribly murdered in a couple of issues. One of them leaves and joins the Suicide Squad and is just butchered in their first Suicide Squad appearance. A couple of them, you know, die or just leave and retire for the most part. But that is just... It's just like, oh boy, we did it, guys! We made it! We can ride off into the sunset now! And then the camera pulls back, and there's just like an A-bomb falling towards their heads. Something like that. But, yeah, it's a fun little issue. Like I said, it's the first appearance of Dorothy Spinner. So if you're a fan of Dorothy, pick this issue up, I guess. Let me know, as always, what you thought of this comic in the comments below. What do you think of Paul Kupperberg's Doom Patrol? Is it good? Should I check it out? As always, leave me suggestions for any books I should cover in the future on Cover to Cover Comics. And follow me on Instagram at @NotBlakeWilde for my original art. Just my posts on there. I post about the channel and videos that are releasing. Check out my Patreon for original art. The pages being published weekly, such as Destructo Boy and the Custodians Agents of Cross. This is over 60 pages. Normally it is $15. You can get access to the entire first issue for as little as $2, and I'm currently serializing the second issue on there as well, and it is also over 60 pages. Destructo Boy, I just finished publishing issue 3 pages on there, so I'm about to start issue 4, so check that out as well. I post original art, movie commentaries. I just rewatched X-Men Origins Wolverine and did a commentary and discussion on that. It's really not as bad as you'd remember. Or get early access to videos and behind-the-scenes stuff of my comics creating, working on the Custodians specifically. So check that out. It really helps me out, and I will see you next time when I go cover to cover. Bye!